Okay, let me see if I've got this right now with all the legal experts out there. And because today everybody's an expert on the Constitution and everybody's an expert on the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence and, the Emancipation Proclamation and history of this world and history of the United States. So let's see. Now we have freedom of speech, and that freedom of speech is based upon 9 people sitting on the Supreme Court that interprets any conflicts that happen with the freedom of speech. They tell you what you can say, what you cannot say. They tell you what's legal, what's not legal. They tell you what's discrimination, what's not discrimination. I can go to work, and if I tell a sexual joke in front of a female, or if I tell that female she has a nice looking ass, that's sexual harassment. But our kids can go to a library and check out a book on anal sex. We can stand and cuss a cop out all day long, and he's not supposed to open his mouth and say a word back. Would you stand in Walmart and let somebody call your child a bastard and your wife a bitch? Would you as a man stand in Walmart and let him exercise his First Amendment right to say that? Or would that qualify as fighting words? Looks like something we may have to take to the Supreme Court. I mean, if you have freedom of speech, then I shouldn't need a Supreme Court to interpret what freedom of speech means. I shouldn't need anybody to tell me what freedom of speech means. It's real simple. I've got the right to say what I want to say, when I want to say it, where I want to say it. That's freedom of speech. Anything else is censorship. So if I stand there and call your wife a whore in Walmart, you're supposed to take it. But that would be considered me trying to goat you into a physical altercation. But with the First Amendment frauditors, that's perfectly fine. See, there's a big difference here. And people don't want to see it. And people think I'm wrong when I say that. Hey, I'm all for the First Amendment. I'm all for the Constitution. I'm all for the Second Amendment. But you got to have a little bit of common sense that goes along with that. Because every time someone is sued in this country for something stupid, it affects all of us. And if we have symbolic freedom, okay, symbolic speech, which was not written into the Constitution, that was decided by the great divine nine, the all-knowing, the all-powerful. That's where you get your ACLU and your Supreme Court in, and that's where you get into all the legalities of it. What qualifies as symbolic speech? Well, it's not true speech. So we can burn the flag, we can burn our draft cards because that was symbolic speech. Well, why can't we spray paint the Liberty Bell or spray paint the Statue of Liberty? It's owned by the people. It's not private property, technically. It's owned by all of us. If the sidewalks are owned by all of us, why can't we spray paint that? Can we go to our workplace and hang up a noose? Can we go to our workplace and hang up a swastika? Why not? It's symbolic speech. I know places that have gay pride flags up, state institutions, federal institutions. I know places that are state and federal institutions that have Black Lives Matter flags. So, that being the case, then where does symbolic speech start and end? Where does free speech start and end? Where does respect start and end? Are you man enough to stand there and let someone talk trash to your family without stepping up, all because somebody says he has the right to do it. You know, who gave him the right to talk to you that way? You know, if there's a video surfaced where an old man was wearing a jacket, and it was just a test, and it had a Confederate flag on it, and he had all kinds of black people upset over it, and all kinds of people telling him he shouldn't be wearing it. You had a couple in a store wearing swastika masks, and people were all over them about that. But nobody will say nothing if you come in with a gay pride or a Black Lives Matter flag. Nobody will say anything if you come in with that on you. So what are you going to do when you run into that badass convict out here who don't give a fuck, and he's got a swastika tattooed on his arm because in prison he was in the Aryan Brotherhood, and he don't give the fuck to take your life? Do you have the same balls to stand in his face and tell him how wrong he is? Or are you going to be some coward little pussy? Because there's been 3 auditors shot for doing that stupid shit. You know, so how far do you really want to take this symbolic speech and freedom of speech? If it's going to be freedom of speech, then let's take it all the way. Let's see these auditors go into the White House. I want to see them go into the Oval Office. I want to see them sit down and have an interview with the president. He's a public worker. He's a public servant, just like everybody else. And they're not just hitting public servants. They're hitting everybody's hospitals, churches, private citizens. You know, and they claim to be educators. They claim that they're educating the public. No, you're not. You're just out there for cheap thrills and a free paycheck. You're nothing but a leech on society. And that's just the way I see it.